Yeah, welcome back to the No State Project. I'm your host, Mark Stevens, author of Adventures in Legal Land. Remember my website, markstevens.net. That's M-A-R-C, Stevens with a V, markstevens.net. And welcome back, JT.
Thank you, Mark.
I just want to remind everybody, we're getting into the home stretch here. I have a workshop in McAllen, Texas again. I'm going to be going back February 26th. So what we're going to be doing, of course, dealing with tyrants, dealing with bureaucrats. And it's an all-day workshop. We'll be actually doing the show. We'll do a remote of the show there again, which is always fun. I always enjoy those shows. So join us on February 26th in McAllen, Texas. You can get information at rgvnostate.com. That's how you can actually sign up. You get with Armando, who was kind of spearheading this, and the guy who's really making all this come together. Get Armando at rgvnostate.com. We're going to be working with the templates for the motion to dismiss that I have available on the website, and a lot of role-playing this time, especially this time, more so than last time, because we've already been there. A lot of role-playing with the script, which is not just for court, but dealing with tyrants, bureaucrats in general. So you want to check that out. And each one is $25 a piece separately, and so you buy those two, and the workshop is essentially free. We get to spend a whole day together. Hey, maybe we can go back we can go to BJ's Pizza again, which was really a treat. I didn't think we had those in Texas. So February 26th in McAllen, Texas. Check it out. Get signed up today at rgvnostate.com. I want to give out the phone number again. You can join us, 218-632-9399. That's 218-632-9399. We had David on. I don't know why we couldn't get him up. There was an issue with the muting or something like that. But David in New Hampshire, you can call back in and join us. But until then, JT, we got a full plate today, too. But I don't want that to keep people from calling in. We got a lot of calls that I did with the IRS again this week.
Wonderful.
It's turning out to be that's what I do all day is do conference calls with the IRS or whatnot. But we had the big tax hearing on Wednesday morning.
Ah, that's right. The one in Maryland, right?
Yeah, with the Maryland Comptroller. So instead of a Department of Revenue, it's called the Comptroller's Office. And when I get the opportunity, I'm gonna edit the audio, for the client's name and whatnot and contact info, and then we'll put it up on the website, and we'll play some. Once I get things squared away here with doing audio drops, I'll do that. But I'll have that available because you're gonna get a kick out of this, everybody. I mean, this is one for the books. Oh man! So I want to take you through this a little bit, give you a little preview of what you're gonna hear on here. Again, this is a state thing, and so what some people may not know is that if you don't file the tax return, whether you do or whether you don't, there are agreements with the state departments of revenue and the IRS. They share information. So one group of tyrants and plunderers will share the information about things that you have, your assets or financial transactions, things like this. And so we get in there, and this is the call initially, JT, where I initially called a couple of months ago. And for those who are new to this, I want to give some context, how we got to this point. They had basically given this client, they had sent them these form letters about asking for tax returns and saying he may owe taxes, blah, blah, blah. And that they believed that he was obligated to file a return. Well, we gave him a call. I asked, this was when Cyan, where she's in that one video that I did, where I asked her about witnesses, and then she said they don't rely on witnesses. And then she turns around, and when I brought that up later, she says, I didn't say anything about witnesses. So you remember that, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
She also tells me that when I start talking about evidence, admissible evidence, and the facts, she tells me point blank that no one at the department was qualified to say my client owed taxes.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
This is under oath, right?
Well, no, not yet. This is just on the phone. I'm just giving a little context so people understand what what I'm talking about and how we got to this point. So, even though she says no one at the department is qualified to say my client owes taxes, they go ahead and do it anyway.
Sure.
And what's interesting here is that for a number of the years, let's say 4 of the years out of the 8 in question, there's absolutely no reporting whatsoever, which is really nice if you can have that.
Right.
But they have some reporting for some previous years. Some years reporting, some years there's not. Well, they had already admitted on the phone that they had nothing for the years that weren't reported, that they were trying to go back. So let's say you've got 2001 that was reported in 2002, there was nothing. They're trying to use the information from 2001 to assess him for 2002.
Nice.
So they go ahead and they do this. Now, not only do they admit that they have no information, they have no facts, they got nothing, but she went and did an assessment when she said she wasn't qualified to, and that no one at the department could say he had taxable income.
Well, of course, because what's the consequences? Nothing? Did you take a shot personally to her? There's no consequences.
No, not even if they throw it out. Ultimately, all it did was cost my client money.
Exactly.
Okay, so they don't give a damn. They don't care. So, but that goes without saying. So we oppose. They sent these assessments out and say, yeah, you can have a hearing if you want. Well, we don't want a hearing. We just want to talk to this individual who did the assessment, and she wasn't even qualified.
Right.
So they're not going to discuss it with me on the phone. I know, big shock. And they set it for a hearing. So what we do is we go last month. Is at least, I don't remember if it was November or December, but it was last year, before Christmas.
Okay.
And this is the time when we had the 40-minute or 45-minute bitching session. I don't know how else am I going to put it.
Right.
I wanted to know and this is what I mentioned this on the show before, and it bears repeating. It's very important to ask them and have them tell you what the process is, so that you have something to go by instead of just trying to read it out of the law books and trying to make sense. Just ask them what the process is, and they'll usually tell you. Well, here, she's not, the hearing officer would not tell me if a lack of evidence was grounds to throw out the assessments.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can't get anywhere on this. So I try to make it as easy as possible. Like I mentioned before, I said, look, if they can't verify their assessment, would that be grounds to throw it out? She wouldn't answer. So I'm pulling my hair out at this point, but I sound civil, at least on the call. But you really can't see how frustrated I am. And they reset it for a hearing on a couple months later. So it was this Wednesday. So now now we're at Wednesday. Okay. The agent is actually there with an attorney representing the comptroller's office. So she did show up. So that was a big plus right there.
And she lawyered up.
Well, actually, she didn't lawyer up, but she was supposed to have a lawyer there to represent the department.
Okay.
So she actually spoke. And had she lawyered up, and that's fine. I don't want anyone to think that if you have a tax agent that lawyers up and won't say a word and won't. They can't verify their assessment at that point. Let them lawyer up. Let them not say a word. It's better for me. I don't have to hear this, right? So,
right.
Before we can start, we had, and another little bit, we had already determined at the prior hearing a couple months ago that, yes, the hearing was open to non-taxpayers. It wasn't that if you request the hearing or if they give you a hearing, it's automatically deemed that you're a taxpayer. So I want to point that out. That's very important. You want to find out if the proceedings are available for non-taxpayers. So that's pretty important.
Well, but if that's the chicken or the egg, isn't it? I mean, do they deal with non-taxpayers?
Well, some do. Some admit they do, and some they don't. It depends on who you're talking to. I've spoken with IRS agents, and they said there's nothing. Some of them. It's a little consistent here. Some have said that they can't deal with taxpayers at all. So then you've got.
You mean non-taxpayers?
Well, they can't deal with non-taxpayers. So we'll finish this on the other side. But if you want to join me today, 218-632-9399. 218-632-9399. Hey, we got calls again we can take, so line it up. 218-632-9399. We'll be back in just a moment here on the No State Project.